All righty, we are live with TableBreakers, episode 17. Welcome, 17th of February, 2022. We are continuing our discussion from last week where we discussed the various bottles at the Cigar DM Cuddles and long-term campaign games. We want to make sure that we have things on a more coherent note than last week's start, although last week's start was priceless, and I wish all of you could have been there for the start of it. But we are here, and my name is Bruce. We have Kai, we have the Sagar DM, we have Baron of G Rock, and we have Jade here to discuss our second evening about how to interpret long term games and how to do generational games. We're going to start the topic off tonight with I'm going to discuss the economy just for a few minutes. The Player's Handbook, Equipment Chapter. You beginning DMs will have your pre-gens ready, and you should always do pre-gens for your first game. But you have your pre-gens ready, and you're figuring out how much they can carry and how much they can procure, and you want to have these characters without a lot of real stresses at first level. So you get them their scale mail, their shield, their starter sword, or their basic sword. It's not masterwork, and you get them a adventuring pack. And after a few adventures, after they've stabilized some things, and don't make it all within 2 weeks, make their adventures prolonged, like one every 2 or 3 months. Because with their adventures, you want to have a return. You want to have an ROI as a GM. You want to have to where when the players have successfully or failed at something they were supposed to do, you want to have the local environment have enough time to where it can absorb that and start to reflect it. Now, stabilizing the local area, like say in the village of Flan, you would have eventually you clear out the slums and you would have contractors go in, and suddenly the town starts to have more people coming into town and the economy starts to move a little faster. You have more than the start of 9 various pubs which have always been there available to the players should they risk it. Now you have other people coming in, and you'll see the economy fluctuate. As a GM, I think it's important that you provide that to the players and you let them know through some either happenstance at the general store or maybe even a councilman just pulling them aside. We really appreciate what you're doing for the community. We are seeing an influx of growth and individuals moving into the town, and we can say that you are definitely one of the stabilizing forces here. I really can't thank you, and I don't think a monetary reward will ever be commensurate enough to the peace of mind you give the people here. You give them a beacon of hope. And so the players will start going around town, and you'll see them see the prices rise on commodities because unless they're getting regular shipments in, the price of rice and flour goes up. But the players will suddenly start to experience things after a few months where they get a free pig here or somebody gives them a chicken there. And their short sword might have gone up 2 or 3 gold because we're having little fluctuations in the market. And you do want to reflect that. You don't want to always have a static number. And I think that's very important in the game. I think that's really important at the start, and that's super important towards the end because it provides a GM with, and I don't say hand wave everything, just use it, the player's handbook to get all your pricing done. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Have that interaction with the player because it puts them back in character. And they get to actually feel or experience what they're doing is helping build the game or tear down the community they have. And I think that's much more important than just going by player's handbook. Here's the price, blah. You don't want to do that. You're not trying to run a society game or an adventurers league. You're trying to run a table in your garage or basement or in your study for your friends that makes them feel like they are involved with your personal time. This isn't you trying to be anything more than just, I'm going to end this 6-hour game or 8-hour game or 4-hour game with a smile on my face and accomplishment. So have the prices fluctuate a little bit here and there. Let the players know they're doing good if they're doing good. And don't be stingy with small rewards, because those often mean a lot more than something big like, oh, you get a cow. Fuck, I need to hire 2 people to take care of that cow. That's something you might not have thought about yet. All right, I'll open it up. What do you guys think? Don't everybody jump on the grenade at once. Right.
No, somebody else is pulling the grenade for once. I'm sorry, but
you want to have me pass it over to somebody else? Go on ahead, sir.
Well, no, I honestly, what you hit on like this, some really nice basic things that you should look at. I mean, forgive me for being a little bit slow this week for getting started, but no, I mean, it is those small little moments that make you feel, since you're going to be looking at, long term, your players might start to look into, well, how do I if you do have that inflationary value in there, you start looking at the idea of, well, what can we do to fix that? What can we? Yeah, it is. You're right. It is. Sorry, this is prepare ahead. Yeah, it is. No, it's not me complaining all the time. But no, so there's your plot hook. A wonderful plot hook to get your players to go and then find out, well, why is this happening? Or so that, because if you're going to give them their keep, the talent they're part of, well, they might be interested in that, because everybody wants to have an affordable price. And because, unless you got players who are complete idiots or thinking about only just, well, the book says this, there's always going to be fluctuation. Always be like 5% up, 5% down, some other things. But, making that friend with the merchant can get you that plot hook to go forward. And as, I'm sorry, I'm not running on all cylinders like I usually am. But no, I was like, but you are laying the groundwork for what could be more interesting down the road. So that really is what it comes down. Like, yeah, there's just enough things to work on. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else take this one before I flounder?
I'll jump on the grenade. I'll push him over. I'll jump on, and I'll be that
Thanks. Guy. Go ahead. Take
I think economy and any gaming system that you're using for a long time period is important, because there's actually aspects in the economy that people don't think about. Did the Farmer Joe 3 miles down have a bad yield this year? How's that going to affect things? Yes, all these things seem minor because we have magic in the world of imagination, but that's not what's important. Is building your world, having reasons why the corn is an extra 2 coppers, or what can you do to help Farmer Joe to build the storyline going. Yes, these are beginning step level missions, but it helps round out the world for them to make your PCs know the NPCs in your world. And economy does that. You know who runs the dairy farm. You know who does your butcher, and so forth and so on. So when you're in the first 3 levels, maybe you have to go play gopher for them. Maybe they want you to go hunt something. Maybe they need you to go do something. Maybe what is more than one goblin? What's the a troop of goblins came and stole cow. Maybe you have to go get cow back.
I believe what you just described is Module B2, Keep on the Borderlands, learning how, which is pretty much baby's first empire builder. Go have some fun.
First Empire Builder.
I'm sorry, I've never played that, so I'm
Give it a read. It's someone pointed it out to me. I'm like, wow, this is like the basics on what would become every other city runner empire, basic management, basic keep management, basic.
It's Kingmaker before Kingmaker.
Yeah, like you clear out an area, you better keep that under patrol, or it's going to fall back under monsters. You better go out there and take care of problems. There are caves you need to work on. It gives you like reasons to actually care about things. In essence, like yes, baby's first Kingmaker, which honestly was better than I thought it was going to be. It's actually good.
Wait, when did you first read this?
About a week ago.
What? You just now got into it?
I just read the damn thing. Why? Because I have an excuse. By the time when I was first learning how to play D&D and nobody had it, like this was the early 90s. Nobody really had reprints of the old books around. So you come in going, well, what's available? Here's all these advanced, wonderful worlds all fleshed out. Nobody had access to the early books anymore. Like a few old grognards, but they're all sitting back. Again, this is also looking at old grognards who've been playing for, at that point, I've been playing for 15 years, back when we weren't all actually graybeards yet. And
I do got to say that for all of you out there right now, and for those of us in Generation X in the 40s, early 50s, late 30s, Uncle Bruce is going to give you a pro gamer tip. Get to be good friends with grognards, especially the ones that like eat pecan pies by the quarter, because you want to have them. You want to have their parents call you when they cripple over from a pulmonary embolism, and like, oh my God, I've lost Carl. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me help you offload his gaming material. I'm not trying to be a complete and total like
in my basement, yes.
What's a family gonna do with B2? Come
right,
on,
Carl, it's a female.
Okay, sorry.
But the fun part about this all came down to is I never read any of these old books because outside of the usual, big scary monsters that everyone throws out modules and go, hey guys, you want to go play Elemental Evil? You want to play this Death Dungeon? And we're like, sure, why not? And you play those because why?
Dragon Mountain. Yay, we're going to Dragon Mountain. Yay, Dragon Mountain. We'll take
yeah. Good. We're gonna go play Tomb of Horrors. Why? Because everyone has to play Tomb of Horrors. None of us understood why. But no. So I missed this book for years, and now going back and going, wow, it's unpolished. I can see where improvements came later in time, but I was able to go, well, there's the foundations for do more than just crawl through muddy dark deep holes. It was actually like, wow, I can see where somebody would have read this book and gone, okay, well, what if I wanted to do a little bit more outside this module? What if I wanted to go to send runners to neighboring towns and go find, level 1, level 2 people who can patrol this area? All I got to do is carry rakes, because it doesn't say it'd be good patrolmen. They just need to be guys with like rakes going out there once in a while going, no goblins, don't come back. And then suddenly you have an area that's now secure. You just got to send a guy out every 2 to 4 days to go out there with a rake and go, no, bad guys, stay away. And suddenly you're now establishing, clear routes of advance so you can get to the caves that are out there. You can now start going, well, what more is out there? Because this module ends at level 3. Why? Well, what are you going to do past level 3? Go somewhere else? No, you've built 3 levels of actual interaction. You've now got friends. Why would you want to go somewhere else? You're now the lord of a castle. Rule. Have some fun. And you can now see where an entire division of people wandered off into a whole yeah, I know, right?
Oh God.
It's perfect.
Oh Jesus.
But yeah, you could see where time eventually gave you a fantastic piece of just why, like, I wish somebody had thrown this book at me, like this 35-page book at me years earlier, though I would have looked at it and went, cool. And then ran off to go continue to play Birthright because that's what I did.
Well, like for legacy games, I mean, I was in a bunch of Jade's campaigns in early days, and all his was a continuation of a different story with a different group that he was building on. It wasn't really until we did the Hex Crawl version of Kingmaker that the concept of actually building a storyline, building a world was actually something more than some guy, secretly writing notes during history class. Oh, this sounds like a great idea. I can turn this and do that and do this. And War of the Roses became Game of Thrones. I mean, sorry. Or any other, fantasy piece that we have out there. So I think finding books like what you just said is important. If you can find somebody has them, I think those would be great tools.
The modern day is great because PDFs are everywhere, and things that were lost are now easily acquirable. But there is like a 20-year period where there was people who never got to see the old days, didn't know it existed, and so they developed their own way of going because, well, where are you going to go find a book that was published in 1974 in 1996? You can go dumpster dive and pray at a used bookstore or a garage sale or a Goodwill, but you're probably not going to get lucky. So unless you have that one guy who goes, I found this old book, it's magic, you want to read it? And someone goes, no. Why? Because I have this other book. It's hardbound, and it looks cool. But you had to literally fast forward from to about 90, like 06, 07 when the first PDFs started showing up, and now we're getting digital downloads. Now things are back, so you could have this little renaissance of, hey, shit, why didn't someone tell me this existed? Well, we all assumed that you knew. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. And I'm apologizing for not having read as well as I should have.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But you could be punished for what you don't know.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, getting back to topic, as far as economy goes, it should be an ever-shifting thing because economies are never stable. They're never truly static. They can shift with the changing of a season. Your meals at an inn might be 2 coppers during the early summer, late spring, but as it gets towards winter, your meals might go up to 5 coppers. Why? Because food's getting harder to get a hold of. Other things such as material goods in the way of weaponry and armor, they should always be a little more expensive than your common goods because typically those are controlled things. That gets into the geopolitical space of things where monarchs and lords of areas want to control who has access to weaponry. Why? Because aristocracy is afraid of the common people in large numbers with lots of lethal weapons. So your prices on weaponry might fluctuate and keep going up as they restrict access to certain weapons until there comes a breaking point where the local blacksmith goes, I've had enough. I'm just going to pass these out to everyone. And the same thing can be said about, campaigns that take place between countries. So you might start off adventuring, levels 1 through 5, you're the local town hero. At levels 6 to 10, you might be noticed by your kingdom's monarch or your area's lord. So they might send you to go, into another lord's domain. Prices could be completely different. They could be vastly inflated because the lord is being a dick and trying to get more taxes. These are all things that, as a GM, you kind of want to plan for, and you don't want to just spring it on your players. You want to leave little hints here or there, oh yeah, in the neighboring country, you'll have travelers or merchants coming in from a neighboring country, oh man, that place was terrible. The taxes are just so high, making everything so expensive. And then that plants a seed that if they go to that place, they can expect to pay higher costs than normal. So a lot of it has to do with theming. You can't just spring new prices on the players unless something major has happened. But if you do spring new prices on players, like much higher prices, they should be asking why. And if they're not asking why, well, they're missing a plot hook potentially.
Or they're just too damn rich, and you can
Or
run with
that.
that. You can run with that particular aspect of this being the out of touch wealthy people who go, "Oh, what? Food's gone up 100%? I don't care. Why? I'm rich." Typical piece. Yeah, I'm well off. I don't care. Oh man, everyone's
Yeah.
poor. I'm gonna sell off a longsword. Yeah, I'm okay.
And, that's the other thing is, equipment may not be able to be sold in certain cities because, nobody in the town can afford it.
Or there's laws
So
against it.
say that
Or
again.
there's laws. No one can buy
Yeah.
magic. No one can buy
Absolutely.
weapons, armor, so forth and so on.
Well, you
Yeah,
run into the Skyrim problem where it's like, well, I have this thing. It costs 20,000 gold. The entire town only has 4,000 gold in liquid cash in the entire town,
Yeah.
and you can't sell it. Well, shoot, I need to boost the local economy enough to be able to actually sell this crap. This sucks.
So hold
and
on. Let me punch the guy. Do a quick reload, and everything
Okay.
comes back.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, those are things as a game master that you need to be kind of seeding into the world to give it a little more life.
And the thing here is that since we are trying to get back to generational ideas, is that if your players are used to one, God, I want to. It's like I almost wish I could just point out like a. Has anyone ever read the Sandman comics?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a nerd.
Okay.
So do you remember Men of Good Fortune? The every century meeting between
Sandman and the guy they blessed with immortality. Yeah.
And how the world keeps changing around him from every generation, and having do you remember how miserable? Oh, how he goes! I have this great idea how I'm going to make some money, and then the world changed around him, and he found out that he made a lot of money this century, but next century he's poor, or he bought into a bad project that ended up backstabbing him, and it kept getting weirder and weirder as it was a beautiful story, and I think it's a good first step to give you what you should be wrapping your mind around. Plus, when you're dealing with characters who've lived for centuries.
Oh, it's Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman writes good worlds.
Right. But the thing is you should take a little bit of inspiration from that story. It's so as as the farmer who comes in with the wagon and just sells up, sits up a stall, one generation, it might not be the guy who, but here you are playing the walking in the footsteps of what came before and going, well, shit. Well, that guy that was the standard, but now things are a little bit different. Now things have changed more. Now with the mill that opened up, grain prices have dropped down. Now you got to worry about a little bit of things. Now some orcs up the river who built a dam is now cutting down the mill, and now people are getting. So now you got to go out there and beat up a bunch of orcs who built a dam. And why did they build a dam? Well, because they're wanting to do this, or why are the dwarves being pissy out in the mountains? And now you get now you're like, well, I took care of that problem. Well, when now we fast forward another 25, 30, 40 years, and well, now there's other aspects that you're all trying to think about, and you're all or you're right, bribe the wrong politician. There's so many ways that you can, just like how that story. You don't know what's coming ahead. The GM probably doesn't know what's going to come ahead because none of us can predict the future, and it's beautiful for that reason. And so you're just thinking about to yourself, well, what worked now won't work or it might not work in the future. And those little twists and turns make it more interesting as you throw kinks into the works. And then you have that one player who goes, but I'm really invested in that thing. Well, you better find some way to either pivot, rework it, or destroy it. And I guarantee players are fantastic for being able to just go and burn somebody else's property down because, you know, they were a threat to their ability to continue to be wealthy as hell. And there you go. That's an adventure plot that the party wanting to either stay ahead of the curve, because obviously existence is a treadmill. If you're walking, you stay in place, so you got to run. And if you stop, you fall behind. And it's this. Giving your party, you know, motivation to do something that on their own volition. So where all you gotta do is just go, and the dwarves are all fucking with you up north. Oh shit! Now they're all like, but we're all humanoid races and we're all fun and friends. No, you're not. Nobody's actually. No. People get fucking onto it, so it's great.
And then you also look at things like, you know, there's a war that happens between two different areas, and the land where all these crops, all the cattle, everything else is raised, and all that is just they scorched earth. Sherman through the South, you know, that you know, essentially. So now the local economy is completely turned upside down because food is at a premium, and now that, you know, and natural disasters happen. You know, I mean, just look at, you know, just here in the U.S. You know, we have tornadoes, we have hurricanes, we've got earthquakes.
I
Blizzards.
almost say Earth Dawn.
Yeah, you've got all these natural disasters, plus what I would call the unnatural disasters of monsters. You know, all of a sudden a dragon flies over and he's mad because he didn't get that sheep that was slightly off white, and that's the one he wanted for dinner. So he just roasts the entire, you know, countryside. You know, that is going to impact later on down the road. And that's what, you know, a lot of people don't think, even as the players are going through, and, you know, like what Kai said, go through and then they just burn down this guy's land. That is going, I hate to say it, it's kind of the butterfly effect, because it's going to affect something else further down the line.
Oh yeah.
I
And
wanted
go ahead.
to add in. We're all assuming that's the same economy, the dwarfs, but it's not. The dwarfs might have their own, the dwarfs have their own, the elves, whatever economy they have, the gnomes, the halflings, and every other race out there that deals with economy might not match up with your own. And so that's another thing you have to add in. Are they jerking you an extra silver because they think that they can, or is it really just an extra silver because that piece of whatever is harder for them to come by in this area? You know,
And it goes actually even beyond that, because the players might have a huge impact on an economy over time. You know, the players might topple a local crime boss in a large city. Well, what's that do to the local economy there? Suddenly, people can't go to their favorite, let's say, speakeasy, because it's gone. Now what? You know, maybe that speakeasy was giving bribes to the local guards or even to the local lord to stay in business. Well, now that income's gone. Or you have another scenario where the party goes and fights off against a tyrant king. Well, they defeat the tyrant king. Now that country is in upheaval. Why? Well, their leader's gone. It's going to take time to establish new rulership. And what's that going to do to the local economy there? Fast forward 50 years. Did they ever get back up and running again? No? Well, guess what? That country's probably got a lot of really hungry people in it, and the economy there's probably really shit. Or, you know, if they did get back up and running and set up a new monarchy or set up a republic or whatever form of government they wanted, you know, maybe their economy is booming. Maybe it's doing exceptionally well, and because the party intervened at a critical time. So those are things you want to look at for legacy style games. You know, when you fast forward to the next campaign, 20, 30, 50, 100 years into the future, you have to kind of note what they did that might affect prices of things in the future.
I think
Also, if you're going to take the campaign like two decades or 4 decades ahead, there might be changes to the currency. You might see your old character's face on a silver piece.
Absolutely.
Oh God, if you run a mint, you almost guarantee it. Then again, you might also see what some of my players have done in the past, which is debase the currency. You know,
oh yeah, I was about ready to say that.
pull the Roman trick and going, God, we are broke. Quick, debase the currency a bit. Every gold piece is still a gold piece. No, it's not. Everyone knows it's not, but the mint says it is. And now you get to have fun little problems there. Or you get to have other people who go, no, we're going to and yeah, never like players should never get a hold of mint because at that point the central bank and the central bank is evil. God damn the Fed. So
Well, I was going to say, you know,
We will print our own money.
in certain campaigns I've been in, and I've ran it one where there's in one of the small towns has a casino. Casinos by nature has the right to print money. They will affect the economy so bad in that small town that everybody's ass is owned by the local casino or the local mine, company towns, or pick your poison, you know. And your group of heroes go in there and try to save the day. No, we have to save these people because the owners of the mine are treating these people as slaves. Okay, we got them out. Now what? Those people don't have any real money. They just have what they just have.
What do they do now?
And so, did you just sink a town because of your moral righteousness, or did you save them? 20 years down the line, it's downtown area that nobody wants to go to because it's filled with murderers and cat thieves because you tanked a town. Congratulations for being moral guided heroes.
Yay, paladins!
And paladins. These are the things you need to think about, especially if you're a player or if you're the DM. What is how's today going to affect tomorrow?
And that speaks towards player agency, because if a player actually has choice in the world and the game's not on rails, their choices should always come with boons or consequences. You know, they should always have something there to remind them, hey, you did this action. This is the result of that action. Now, it shouldn't always be a bad thing. It shouldn't necessarily always be a good thing. You know, if at the end of the game or at the end of, you know, that campaign, your characters haven't changed or been forced to change in some way, what did they really do?
Ooh, I understand that one, but
That was deep, man.
That was deep.
That was so deep.
well, the thing is that it really comes down to asking your players on. Well, you really don't ask the players because no player wants to be told, "Well, are you a nobody?"
Yeah,
because
all players start as nobodies. They become heroes.
No, like they choose to become heroes, or they stay nobodies. And I've seen players who are content. They are content to be supporting actors. They are. If you ever ask them directly to them, what do you want to do? What's your goal? What's your ambitions? And their answer is, I'm here to support the party. You know what? Every movie, every book has supporting characters. You need to have them. And sometimes some players are just there because the story is really good, or the other people are just characters enough to be more personality than they can handle. So that they're like, no, I'm here to every once in a while go, yeah, boss, let's go do that. And they're there to help, kill things, because there's just that one player who's more charismatic. So
we're here to kill him better. We're here to kill him gooder.
We're here to kill him gooder. But so therefore it's like, you got to realize when you start thinking about generational, like starting to think about time jumps, that some characters are going to become lost to history, that nobody's going to remember them. And I've gone like, if you don't leave a, if 5 years from now and you're all sitting with your friends and you're all going, oh man, I remember so and so and so and so and so and so, and wasn't that guy in the group? Yeah. Who did he play? You know what? You forget about those guys because they just disappear off into history. And history is literally filled with people who are unremarkable. They did things, they lived their lives, and then they died. That was it as far as a history book is concerned. Well, everyone is special. No, you're not. You're just a cog in the great machine that's always rolling forward. And occasionally you got to remove that cog. And so you have players who don't contribute. Oh, they're contributing. They're at the session, at the table, they're playing, but they're not.
Rolling dice.
They're rolling dice, but they're not actually contributing to the world. They're just good. They're just that when you open that history book, you go, they're so and so, they're so and so, and they're so and so, and who is the other 8 people in the background? Don't worry about them. They were nobodies. And so therefore the whole every player's a hero. No. Every player can be a hero. Most of them never step up to it. And yes, when somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes. Unfortunately, most players go no. I'm not a god.
Well,
but I am special. My mom told me so.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. You're not. Your mom lied to you.
No.
You don't deserve a trophy because you came in 4th place or showed up. No. Do better.
I deserve a trophy because I'm cool.
Yay!
I'm gonna shout out to the comments here. Does anybody out there have any comments about economy and taking it forward into another game?
As we move
from
forward.
one, I mean, from one era to the next era. Have you done it? Have you been in games that have done it? Did you like it?
God. Do you allow whorehouses in your campaign? Because that boosts economy too.
You can.
Yes. By God,
only if
yes.
they're in Texas.
I was playing, Bruce's Kingmaker, and I'm like, my character wanted to build a whorehouse. The rest of the party's like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, but it brings money.
So yes, it can boost the economy, but at the same time, it can tank your citizenship loyalty, depending on certain aspects of it. You build it too early, and your town gets a reputation of, a really bad negative connotation because most of the churches don't support that, and most of the God-fearing peoples don't support that.
You're gonna replay the entire movie Footloose for your gaming table? What?
So you really have to know when to build things like that.
The reason why
you always bring it up, but
yeah, when I bring it up, I do mean I'm more or less playful. But I was reading several history books about how the West was won, and it wasn't by guns, it wasn't by the railroad, but it was by whorehouses. Whorehouses built the West. It's what conquered the West. And if you take that aspect and put it into gaming, if you want a kingdom or a village to turn into this, you're going to have to think out of the box ways to bring income into that village, that town, that kingdom.
I would just say that Hedley Lamar from Blazing Saddles would approve your decision.
I didn't get her own fun about that.
Anyway,
we're all going to hell.
I mean,
I already have a reservation. What do I give a shit at this point?
And a friend of ours is driving the bus.
That's right.
Fantasy Dead with Howard Coxsucker.
So, what other things do we consider for legacy games?
Superstitious.
If you guys want to put a button on the economy, I have no problem with that because we talked for 40 minutes basically about an economy and changes that would happen. I love that. I love that.
Now, as for the all NPCs are superstitious and religious, you got to remember, we're not dealing with a monotheistic faith where you have Rome. You're dealing with a polytheistic faith where it's like, what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're jerking off to monotheism, fantastic. Congrats to you. But
not to my eye, God, Jesus.
But the thing is that open up your book and you have a pantheon to work with. So it's like, I'm superstitious of which god? What do you mean? Which god are you superstitious of? Well, I kind of care about the teachings of the god who makes my fields grow. Okay. Well, I'm superstitious of the god who allows me to steal shit. Okay. So who are you superstitious of? The god that says it's okay to kill everybody in this room. Oh, we should kill that guy. Yeah, we should probably kill that guy. So who are you suspicious of? The goddess who's all about lies, manipulation, and trickery. But I don't tell anyone that one. Okay, cool. I like the god of healing, good, and law and order. Kill that one. That one's boring. So it really is like. So it's like at that point, it's get out the lore book for that pantheon and start going. So, which gods do you have a shrine for? Who's your house god? Who's your deity? Since we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, I chose the god of protection and healing because I'm the boring healing cleric because the party needs a dead mother, and your paladin is going, well, herp derp justice, and yeah, you just got to have a little bit more so this whole it's this Roman Catholic mentality. No, there's let's go backwards in time. We're actually looking at more going. No, we're looking at the pantheon.
It's really setting specific,
right? But almost every setting. Okay, unless you're playing in a world where it's monotheism, you're dealing with Forgotten Realms, Pantheon, Greyhawk, Pantheon. Almost every location, Pantheon. You're dealing with a polytheistic religion system, so you're not going to be stuck with oh God, more puritanical. Some puritanical whack jobs that are all sitting here going, oh God, this person's bathing too much. Fuck, this isn't right. Kill them.
So, I mean, yeah, in classical D&D, you have the pantheon of gods, and a lot of regions stick to 1, 2, maybe 3 gods. But in other game systems, such as I believe Iron Kingdoms, you've got different gods for different areas. Like you have the Church of now it's been 10 plus years since I've played this. I think it's Moro.
Moro Project?
The Moro. I'm not going to go at the book. But so, I mean, you have different religions for different countries, and they might be polytheistic, but other countries might be monotheistic. So it's really dependent upon the setting. You might have your devil worshippers, and they all worship, I don't know, Mephistopheles in one country, whereas the next country over, they all worship, let's say, I'm going to choose, I think it's Greyhawk, Pelor. The two are going to be at odds constantly. So, I mean, it really depending upon setting and what you as a GM say, hey, these are the religions of the area. These are, the gods you can choose from. You can choose to be a monotheist if you wish, or, the setting is polytheistic. You can have multiple gods.
Oh, and I know.
Well, I mean, also, well, if you look, some of them will be, you're looking at if you're doing Iron Kingdoms, Minoth.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was thinking of. Minoth, the Church of Minoth.
And it's very, that is legit a mono.
Yeah, very much so. Like you don't create anything else if you're a Minoth.
Here's the other thing to think of. If you're looking at a generational game, even with I know we've kind of slid into religion, but
we did.
who's to say that something doesn't happen? Let's say you do 60, 80, 100 years down the road. Who's to say that the quote unquote old gods are no longer worshipped? And they have gone to a monotheistic.
And knowing how most players tend to be, my God is best God, fuck you. Um, Mr. Paladin and Mr. Cleric are working hand in hand to go, fuck you. We're the best ones, and everyone else is inferior. Why? Because we're player characters. Just get used to it. And you could easily see that, time jump, and now you have a major cult that's all based around whatever twisted teachings your players left behind, because very few players ever come into it with a good, fair, and balanced point of view to their fuck you, I'm in charge faith system that they're going with.
Yeah,
And so
and
might have
exactly.
I sorry, go for it.
And that's the thing, is that if they are so gung ho on that, I love my God, my God's the good God, this is the only God that there needs to be, I'm going to start, even to the point, I've actually been in games where players have started to actually convert people into their religion once they start getting up in the I would say 12 to 15, in 3.5, 12 to 15th level. I mean, they actually start because they're a high enough prophet in their religion where they could actually start doing the conversions, and it the way that they may be teaching it through the conversions may be perverting exactly how it's supposed to be. So therefore it could actually wind up walling off the rest of the pantheon, or it could be even a completely different pantheon. It would be
Yeah. I
something
mean,
like Thor, like a follower of Thor goes into a place where the Greek pantheon is, and then all of a sudden, it it can't be it can't be Zeus, because I mean, look at the lightning that Thor can throw down, and he can do it at will.
and then you also have players who might accidentally start cults to other religions. That's something you want to carry forward into games as well. What did the players do in the first game of the Legacy, and how does it affect the next game of the Legacy in terms of cults and religions and the different belief systems.
God. So
Like,
go for it.
I had a campaign where it was a continuation of the same world that I'd played in years before, but one of my players became a saint and the patron saint of gunslingers. Now, what did that do for the player? Not a hell of a lot. What did it do for the next game? Well, the next game, people could actually take that patron saint of gunslingers and pray to that being. If they were a paladin, they might get extra benefits, when they go to smite, with a gun. So, I mean, those are things that carry forward from one game into the next game, is player actions.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, what if hypothetically you get a cleric, right? Not hypothetically. You play a cleric that has more of the Tyrion from Game of Thrones twist. The burn god wants to burn you. The drown god wants to drown you. Where's the goddess of tits and beer? That would be the goddess I'd pray to. He gets up there in levels, and he's a priest because he's making his own religion or whatever, and he takes leadership. This is 3.5 days. Guess what? He's now got leadership, which comes with followers. There's your cult of titties and beer. And that stuff can have ramming results 20 years, 30 years down the road. So with that being, oh God, that's not helping my thought process there.
I believe the correct term for that is I'll allow it.
Oh,
Religion is
yeah.
a tricky thing because
We went
you got the systems gods, whichever systems you're running, then you got the player's personal beliefs. And sometimes they go together well, sometimes they don't. Pathfinder has a god in it who got drunk and fell into godhood. Not literally, but he did a trial and passed it out. Now you get somebody who likes to play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder who's a paladin, and he in the back of his mind, fucking Saint Cuthbert out of Dragon, which Greyhawk, is his Abrahamic god. So you get another guy who shows up who just basically fell into it. That's going to piss him off. And he's probably going to play the character the same way he sees his point of view. I've seen it in person. It's annoying as hell, but you have to, it's just a thing that people have to deal with.
yep.
That happens, man. I mean, we can't control the people that come to our table, all right?
Nope.
We can
Well,
say we have an open table. We can
Well,
say
we
we have
can.
discussions that are restricted away from politics or religion. In the real world, the only politics or religion that matter at the table time is the things involved at the table.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I've ever handled it.
Mhm.
You're still going to have outside biasm leaking into the game, one way or the other.
Oh, you can't.
I
get
mean-
rid of
Well, I
that.
mean,
Every
you
character
can control you can control the players to a point. It's just not legal.
Yes, I am going to beat all you guys 20% more until morale improves.
Yeah.
The biddings will continue until morale improves, and then they'll be doubled.
Why are you guys ripping into my manual of how to be a great GM? Stop it.
Because we all gamed with you.
It's true. Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
know
all
about
your
God,
fault, Bruce. You
I know.
spawned all of us.
Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'll
after
be-
this stream, I'm going to be diving into the whiskey to get that thought out of my brain.
Daddy.
Well, at least I said it that way and not a completely different way that would have really freaked everybody out.
Ew. Anyway, so religion. So are we still
with
religion or are we
gods-
moving on to something else?
Well, no, with the gods, like
Hey.
Frog God Games, they the people that I run their world almost exclusively, they've got a really neat system called the Lost Lands, and it's for Pathfinder 5th edition and system neutral versions. They're putting together their God book right now, and if you read through the world manual, which is about 500 pages of joy, there is you see where like things have fallen to the wayside, and like there was a previous epoch of riches and wealth and a previous age of magic and wonder, and then there was a dark ages period, and everything's kind of rebuilding now in that process, and there are small kingdoms falling away from the main kingdom, which everybody knows that language, and they're starting to chip away and start to get their independence back away from it because it's just corrupt, and there's really a lot of problems in that world, which makes it great for campaign fodder. But I will say that the epochs that you see have all their different little gods they have, and you have all of these different places where you could take the player characters and they could discover relics from an earlier age, which is something that as a GM I very much recommend everybody do. Because do you really want to go through dungeons under the city all the time? Probably not. But go 3, 4, 5, 600 miles away and find a ruin of an old capital, and then you find like the statues outside the temple district, which are still in ruins, and you can do things like that. Generational games will allow your characters and allow your players to witness the rise and fall of certain environments through the course of time. Your first campaign you run, the players might be defending a town from a siege, and so it ends up in a TPK. So you could just be kind of like a GM like I am, or DM like I am, where I'm like, well, your characters died, and you were really the last heroes for that city. It was just after that regular men and women that stood no chance against the bugbear invaders or against the hordes of goblins or orcs. And so you have 40 years pass, and these new players, they're not speaking the same language. They're in the same area. And when you start reading off descriptions of where they're at, the players are remembering, like, oh, we're not too far from the Star Sea. And on a clear day, you can see that about 60 miles away down the coast, you can see the little bits of land. And as you've gotten older, the air has gotten clearer because this area is now depopulated. They salted the earth. And you go to this ruined temple, this ruined city, and you can find all these things where your previous characters died. Now, those treasures that they've dropped have been picked over millions of times, hundreds of times. But you can do a campaign where you can watch the gods gain strength, or the gods will no longer be in favor like they were. And I highly recommend DMs do that more often, because you might have a game, say you want to run in Forgotten Realms. You want to run it 500 years before the Avatar series. All you have to do is just pick up the timeline. All the major campaign books have a timeline where they show you who was ruling, what was the big scandals of the day, and what was going on. And all you have to do as a GM is just fill in the blanks. And I recommend, without any doubt, that GMs do that, because you want to give that flavor to the players. Otherwise, they're just looking at a battle map going, when do we roll initiative? Oh, we're not there yet. Okay. So you give them that. Yeah, Calvin on. He's like, look at the smoke rising. What a romantic sunset.
Yes.
Now, I got a question for you guys. We've talked about legacy games, and that's it. And that is the main topic of it tonight. Here's one for you. What if you got a player, and this is early days of the campaign. This is when you're putting the pieces together. And out of the 6 out of 5 players, you ask, what does everybody want at the end of the game? You get one son of a bitch at the table says, well, I want to be a god.
Well,
That's
First off, let's go back to your
the real answer to that one is
that.
So at that point, you look at the other 5 players and go, well, I'll see you all. Well, that was the end of a session. What do you all want to do? What are you all planning? And then one player goes, I want to be a god. Everybody else, I got this, and this. And that one player goes, God. You go, you wait until after everybody else is gone. So you would go out. Let's go to the bar for a bit. How do you what god do you want to be? How do you plan on getting there? Because suddenly that player is going to be, setting the pace in the background for a lot more. And suddenly he's like, well, I want to be this god. And now you start working with that guy. And you email back and forth. You work out how he's going to ascend. You throw a few trials at him. He may or may not succeed. And then when it's like, all right, time for that time jump. Everybody make new characters. We're all starting new, and we're adding a god to the pantheon. What? Who? This guy. Wait, wasn't that so-and-so's character? Yeah, he's now the god of this. But wasn't that god already there? Was. How did he replace? I don't know. How did he? And then you explain it to, and they're like, can I be a priest of that guy?
absolutely.
Yeah, you totally could be a priest, a paladin, or a cleric of that guy. I'm totally going to do that. And suddenly your party is going, okay, so we're going to be now the priests and followers of that asshole who managed to go out and do this. And they're now going to spread the holy word of being, an asshole PC upon the rest of the world. As the rest of the world goes, no, that's scum. That's scum and villainy. We need to stop that.
Well, I mean, I actually so in that game that I was talking about, where I had a character who or a player who became a saint. The next campaign, I had actually homebrewed my own gunslinger type class called Holy Gun. It was a prestige class. and the person was playing a paladin gunslinger, Holy Gun, out of I think it was Pathfinder's Holy Gun, and they wanted to go into the prestige class of I just lost what I called it anyway, and they were following that saint, and that saint was the patron saint of gunslingers, war veterans, and something else. It's been a while. But the character or the player had a really great time exploring the religion and the nuances of this saint that had come before him without realizing that that saint was canonized only 30 years previous. Like, that person grew up learning about the saint and carried it forward into the next campaign and into the story, and they were making up their own like lore of this saint, because I didn't have like a fully fleshed out pantheon and like portfolio for this saint. So they were making it up, and I'm like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to add that in. So I mean, the legacy game started with the saint, and then the saint got more stuff added from this player, and then it got carried over into this next campaign, and it just keeps going. As long as I'm taking good notes, which I don't have in front of me, I can keep that moving forward into the next game or into the next 10, 20, 30 games, depending on how many times I want to replay in the same world, just at a different point in time.
Conversely, along similar lines, let your players explore the tombs of your previous players.
Yes, I've done that.
I've also to steal a page from a different game. When a player dies, where everybody, to appease that spirit, the soul and spirit of that former hero, they'll build a horrifyingly amazing tomb full of traps to hopefully keep that character from ever coming back to life. And you just forget about it, and eventually the player goes, "I'm going to go exploring." Well, there's a tomb over there. It's full of treasures and riches, but it's oddly full of death and murder. Why? Because it's a former player character. Of course, it's full of death and murder. And it's like, but it's so easy to get in. Yeah, but it's impossible to get out.
You thought the kobolds were trap masters.
No, your former followers who are going, "Oh God, Hackmaster the Great, he's dead. Quick, build a tomb so that way he'll never come back." And
now, see, something that I've actually done before, not necessarily in a generational game, but it did torque off the players a little bit, is I did have them go against a necromancer. The necromancer wound up wiping the party. And I said, okay, I need everybody's character sheets. And they looked at me and goes, why? And I said, I can't tell you that, but your characters are dead. I need those. I need the character sheets. I'll be more than happy to go upstairs, make a copy of them, and then give them back to you. But I need a copy of those character sheets. And they were all very suspicious at that point. And as well, they should have been, because I mean, this was a necromancer. The necromancer killed an entire party of players. What is the necromancer going to do? He's going to reanimate those characters. So they were added to the next fight that the next group had. And they got very upset when they found out they were fighting themselves.
I had a DM that had us walk into a room full of fucking mirrors, and it almost wiped the party until we decided, like, wait, we should stop fighting ourselves and switch. I'll pick this guy because I hate this son of a bitch. Boom. All right, done. And, that's how you had to switch it up. So
Jade had to turn off his mic because it was too hard.
Sorry about that.
That wasn't me, I swear. Okay, maybe
Uh-huh.
it was me. You can't prove it was me.
Oh, we can.
Yes, the warranty is great.
Yes, Necromancer. Let me tell you about your life's extended warranty.
I think I broke the Jade. Does he come with a warranty?
No,
Unfortunately, 2 times COVID later, the warranty is expired.
but I had all no.
I think religion. I think if you get a player who tells you right off the, you ask the players in the very beginning of your campaign, what is everybody trying to accomplish, other than defeating the greater evil, blah blah blah. If you get one who says, "I want to be a god,"
The thing here is that motivations change across games, where you might have one player whose entire focus at the start is simply, I want to be the best healer, not cleric using healing spells. I want to be the best healer, and then it becomes, well, shit. Everyone's incompetent. I'm going to become the best. I'm the best leader I can to minimize casualties, and then it becomes, well, fuck. Everyone's still stupid. Now that I'm in charge, everyone's still stupid. So I need to go out there and slowly but surely that character's path keeps changing in course and direction. And like, I'm going to overthrow the government because obviously everyone's retarded. So obviously I'm the best person in charge. No, rebellion bad. Maybe I should fix things. And so goal at beginning should never be goal at end.
I don't know. I think putting the person through the freaking paces, if you can actually ever find out what the trial was for the test of the Starstone or for Pathfinder, or you could find some variation of, you have to find a piece of, you have to find the golden apple that turns, I know from Greek mythology, it doesn't turn you into a god. I'm just using that as an example. You have a ancient red dragon that is, protecting a tree of divinity.
So,
right. But yeah, I'm kind of working with that idea there. It was simply, but the thing is that
ambrosia. That was the word I was looking for.
Ambrosia.
You have to find ambrosia and not the stuff your grandma makes.
But the thing is, a dynamic character will change. But
right.
You can always tell there is characters who are like, I want to be a god. This is my motivation. I'm going to work towards being god. And that's cool. But there's a certain point where if you throw things at people and then they just ignore it, like there's barreling through it, they have a cow catcher on the front of a train just pushing shit out of the way as they're going for their goal. That one isn't quite as much fun to GM for as somebody who you're like, this is my goal. Here's some things that can maybe divert you a little bit, maybe make it more interesting. And they go, I'm going to take that hook. I'm going to run with that hook. But that guy who goes, no, this is my goal. Cow catcher time. Bam, 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 bam. Plot, world, environment. No, I've already plotted my plan out for the rest of my life. No, please, could you just interact with the world? Nope.
I'd be the dick at the end of the day. You finally get to that tree. You and your party somehow defeated or chased off the ancient red whatever dragon. You take a bite of the apple, and guess what? Nothing fucking happens.
Worse, you die instantly.
Yeah.
The dragon was protecting you from the tree.
Right. Some variation of that. Yeah.
I like that one. But anyway, religion. What's our next topic?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, religion is such a buried topic, and you guys could do 12 sessions on religion.
Oh yeah, very easily. I don't know if the audience would want us to do 12 sessions of.
I'm pretty certain they would love to see us go at it on religion. Actually, I actually do. I think they would, unless we get some F's in the chat for "fuck you, Bruce. You're a bad GM." But
I'm watching.
I'm just saying, because like in what I consider to be one of the masterpieces of the 2010s, the Slumbering Tsar Saga, which is the thickest book I own for RPGs. No, cancel that. That's the Northlands by Paizo. This book
No.
pops in at
What?
900.
It's not the
and
thickest book you have.
952.
Oh.
Wow, it's actually bigger than Patolus?
Yes.
Wow.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There we
Frog
go.
Games has 900-page books. Okay, I'm just going to say that they use a binder that does collegiate textbooks. Okay, so what?
Cat.
Okay. So anyway, in that book, you have a quest that pops up, and it's kind of subtle. So if the players don't get it, that's all right. You're doing your job as a GM. If you offer them that apple and they don't bite it, that's okay. But there's a quest where there's these gods that used to be called the Triumvirate. Now, in today's parlance, only 2 of them are ever spoken about, but they do give you the chance to actually. Thanks, Connell. Thanks, Gary. They give you the chance to bring back an old deity from the old days and to start giving him followers again. They give you a quest to where you can actually learn how to be a prestige class of paladins called the Justicar, which is what a completely aggressive paladin player would want to take, because he can't accept any stealthy help. He can't try to sneak into an enemy encampment. No. He's got to go in there guns blazing, swords wet with blood. He is a crusading, lawful good, Charlemagne, blood-soaked individual.
Michael Carpenter.
No, not Mark Carpenter.
No, not Michael. Michael's got compassion.
Yes.
Almost eschews it.
Justicars are without passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be none of those nights that I'm thinking about.
No, the Knights of the Sword from the Dresden series all have compassion, so they would not be Justicars.
No, they wouldn't. But it's a very cool prestige class that they offer to you. And if the GM has got a paladin player that could pull it off, that's great. Because very rarely do you see a holy quest in a lot of modern games. A lot of new game designers really stay away from it. You won't really see it a lot in 5e main campaigns either, because it's just not going to fit in with the agenda, the narrative. So you have that, but you have a really good opportunity with Frog God Games' The Slumbering Tsar Saga. If you want to have a holy quest, there is a serious holy quest in that game book for level 7 to 20.
I've seen players though create their own holy quest. I had to say the weirdest one I've ever seen that was a player self-granting one to themselves is they were digging through an old abandoned temple to a god nobody had ever heard, and the rest of the party's like, we don't care, it's a god we never heard of. And our barbarian with a wisdom of 9 went, intelligence of 9, wisdom of 11 went, I'm going to become a priest of this god. But you have no text or anything. He goes, but I have his holy symbols. I'm becoming a priest. They're like, you're the worst priest ever, but I'm going to be very loud about it. Suddenly his goal was to all he knew was the god's name and his holy symbols, and he was creating all of the lore for it and creating his own faith around this god who's long dead. But he's like, I'm bringing it back by worshiping it. And suddenly wait, you're going to do what? He goes, so he eventually created an entire faith of loud, ignorant barbarians who are all yelling at the sun. And we're like, good, go for it. And everyone went, we're going to support this because this is weird. So yeah, the campaign went on a whole 170-degree turn from what I had planned to the crusade of this barbarian priest who's now running around yelling at the sun and his followers. And the party going, no, this is dumb. We're following this. And it was beautiful.
Bruce, you bring up 5e, and for the most part, I've read through most of the 5e modules. You're absolutely right. A lot of the 5e modules do not promote what a traditional D&D, the way your gaming style would. But to be honest, and to not so much play devil's advocate on this comment, I did run Curse of Strahd, And this was when I was working in Poplar Bluff, and the entire parties wanted to be paladins. Their whole mission was to try to take out the evil. And I told the party, I'm like, your divine connection to your gods of choices is going to be wavered in the land of Strahd. They're like, we don't care. We are going to be the holy knights of killing vampires and kicking asses. I'm like, okay, let's see how this works out. 3, 4, 5 sessions into it, can we make new characters? Because it's not exactly working, and we're getting our ass kicked because we don't have abilities. I'm like, yeah.
It's one of those. It's like, are you sure you want to do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Now, in another campaign out of 5e where you're going into the Underdark, me and another group of people decided that we all want to be dwarfs. Not all paladins, but all want to be dwarfs. Tell you what, that was fun.
Look, I've had an entire I've had a campaign where everyone made the wrong characters and they all wanted to change. I'm like, no. So they all tried to suicide. So it was just this campaign of me trying to see how long I can keep them from dying. Great.
Lemmings, the RPG.
Oh yeah, they're trying so hard to kill in ever more interesting ways, and I'm sitting here going, "No, none of you are dying." And they're like, "But it turned into like this horrifying of Lemmings plus Groundhog Day plus so many other weird things, and they're just trying to like defeat fate." And like no, because you're idiots. You made a joke campaign, and now you want to salvage it and make it serious. No, we're going full jokey motherfuckers. And now it turned into them going, but we want to die. That's not happening.
I really wish, when you say Lemmings, every time you say that, I think of Belushi, and I really wish I could do a decent Belushi imitation. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I didn't let them choose different characters. They eventually got knocked off because of they just picked the wrong. They just picked the wrong characters. Yeah, I understand why y'all want to be holy paladins and go take on the big evil, but this is not the campaign for it. So
it's where you play the chaotic neutral rogues and you just slip in and behind everything.
Yeah.
That's why I normally play chaotic neutral. Hasn't done me wrong as of yet. Although I've had a few DMs, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. He was like, I really wish you'd play something else.
All right, guys. How about this? What about changes in technology when you're doing the generational stuff?
Hey, Bruce, that's not funny.
What?
That is not funny. You know, you're having a bad day when you're doing confessions and you can hear the priest next to you laughing at you.
So, as far as technology goes, the point that Garrett wants to get onto, I've run campaigns from Middle Ages through the Industrial Revolution into space age technology in the same game world. I'm actually writing the Bronze Age. I mentioned this last week. I'm writing the Bronze Age plot web for that same world. But I played as a character in the medieval, Dark Ages era, and by happenstance, my character and several of the other characters became quasi gods, not full gods, not even truly demigods, but we became these unworshipped, slightly divine beings.
Unworshipped and unloved.
Not unloved. They were still in the world, participating in the world, but they had a different purpose and goal. So fast forward, I think it was 1,000 years after that campaign ended. The Industrial Revolution was kicking off, and I went back and looked at some of my notes about that original game, and I'm like, so 1,000 years ago we had repeating crossbows. Why don't we carry that idea forward into repeating, steam powered guns? it was a thing. It happened. So I was using Iron Kingdoms and a blend of my own homebrew insanity.
Oh God,
That's the only way I could do it. And I told a story where it was turn of Industrial Revolution, Steam Age, and it just the technology just kept getting more and more advanced very rapidly. And that was because I had magic and technology going at the same time. And a lot of people would say, you can't mix magic with technology. That's sacrilege. Well, no, not really. If you have a mage academy in a country that, they know that the common people can't use magic, so they're going to use technology to close the gap a bit. Especially if your country is very militaristic, they want that technology to close the gap. So they're going to invest heavily in their mages, looking at the technology, seeing what improvements can be made and how fast they can be made. So I went from flintlock era weaponry to rifled barrels in less than 100 years in the game world. And that's because I had high-level mages in the game world studying the pattern and path of these bullets that were coming out of the guns. So that was, and it wasn't just me doing this. It was the players going, well, if someone has access to slowing time down, they can see the trajectory of the bullet and try to make predictions and figure out why it's doing that. Okay, you know what? Rifling's been invented now. Let's go with that. Weapons just became more accurate.
Well, yeah, you talk about magic, and I know we kind of touched on this in the pregame, and I'm going to bring it up again. The thing is that if you want to mix, you're going to have the mix of the technology and magic. You could just as easy not even have a board, rifling there, and just throw like a magic crystal type thing, slap that in, bing, it shoots lightning, it shoots fireballs, it shoots magic missiles, whatever it's charged with. And that's easy enough that if you get into a magic type world, you're going to have those type of people in there, which they're already built into the game, most gaming system, which is the artificers. The artificers will do that. Yeah. Load a wand in there. Shoot wand of fireballs out.
Not everyone can use a wand, though. In
Don't
3.5.
to.
Okay,
You don't need to.
I should preface
You've
this.
gotten
Rogues.
hold on. You don't need to, because you have an appliance that'll use it for you.
Well, Kai was bringing up the fact that you could use a wand. Well, not everyone because I'm speaking from 3.5. I don't know about 4e, 5e, but in 3.5 you had to take a skill called use magic item.
Yeah, abuse
to
magic
be able to
device.
use a wand. Yep, use magic device. You had to take that skill to be able to use a wand. Otherwise, you just couldn't do it. So putting a magic crystal onto a manufactured weapon like a gun, that's not a bad idea. It's still using a magic device, but you might be getting a bonus because it's made for the common person to use at that point.
You mean you're not forcing all of your people going through your boot camp to go, okay, everybody, you're gonna go learn. You're all learning to use magic device today. What? This is your skills that you're gonna learn to be in the service. Why? See, this is good. This wand of magic missiles is going to attach to this trigger is going to be your new best friend. Get used to it. What?
Yeah.
And see the armor over there? The enchanter. I'm fucking bored. All I do all day is recharge these fucking wands all day. Don't you fucking lose it. Don't you fucking break it. Don't you fucking sell it. Why is it coming back wrong? And suddenly your guy goes, you're poor schmuck. Like, and because your country, your kingdom has that kind of cash, you're like, wait, but why is everybody pissed off? Because everybody had to go learn, instead of survival, they all learned to use magic device. Why? Because I want to have 500 guys shoot magic missile this round at that guy I hate over there.
That's 1d4.
Or even better is that you build essentially a Gatling gun and you just slot the wands in. You got one guy there just World War II type style.
No.
World War I style.
That's absolutely horrifying.
Do it better. I've seen players do this. So they have one guy whose job is to drop the wands in top of the machine, and the next and one guy who's aiming. It's a crude service weapon, but you're firing Mel's acid arrows downrange, and your poor fighter who you hit him I hit him with a brick a few times so that way he learns the skill, and now he's the one who's sitting here going, everyone dies from acid arrows. This is the greatest day in the entire universe. Why?
Yeah.
Using a rapid version of, what is in essence the repeating ballista, but now it's just all this weird contraptioning thing. But then you have a situation like what I had in a campaign where a player designed all this crap. He went off to go, live his life, his real world life somewhere else, and the players who are now at the table are all living in the shadow of this player who had done all this stuff, and the world was getting all this weird, it's all magical garbage, and they're like, oh, this is really, and then we had a druid who literally sat back one day and went, wait a second, we are raffle stomping everything. There's no threat anymore in the world. Everyone's just dying. What the fuck? And he's like, this is not the world of balance. This isn't nature. This isn't how it should. So he literally went on a quest to end the magical technology world. Why? Because, as he put it, there's no challenge left in the world. I'm going to destroy the world because the world needs to have pain and suffering again. People need to actually work again. And I'm like, this is a really hard quest. And so he went the opposite route of every other player who's like, we're going to keep on trying to find ways of abusing magic, abusing this, taking the easy way out. And then suddenly this druid is like going, no, I want strength of arms. I want wisdom. I want wits again being important in the world. So he literally brought this golden age of magical wonders to an end through literally just destroying the weave pretty much and resetting the core of what was powering the entire world. Why? Because he was tired of players being able to just stomp the living shit out of everything. And then suddenly now monsters had a fighting chance again. And everybody who went, well, I got this cool magical wand rifle. It's going to be completely click, 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 click. Wyatt, no work no more. Oh shit. And now he just sat back and laughed and went, and now entire nations that have all been built around this now have no idea how to actually fight anymore. And now the butchery will begin. And millions died. And he was just like, this is the world righting itself. It's restoring the balance. And as one other player went, but you're killing millions. He goes, it's a small price to pay.
Okay, Thanos.
Yeah.
Another thing that you could think of is, sorry, Connell. But another thing is that if you want to even ramp that up even further, I was talking about World War I, Gatling gun and stuff like that. Heck, you could even put I'm going to use the necklace of fireballs, basically from Pathfinder. Put that into a mortar. And then that entire necklace just goes off. Think about that. Think about how many D6 damage that is.
To the mortar or to where it lands?
Where it lands.
Okay, just one.
You could actually, at that point, you'd be using the beads from the necklace of fireball as propellant.
Yeah.
Now, I've been a player who's like, how can we ramp this up? How can I put holy water into bullets? Because we're fighting vampires, which I had a DM that let me do it. He let me design bullets to a certain degree, and I was and I was very appreciated. Now, this was before I really started DMing. This was just me just playing a character, I never played campaigns by the numbers. I always like to do the more creative aspect to it. As a DM, I guess I'm a little bit of the opposite way of how you guys are talking, and I'm not meaning. Yeah, I guess I am playing devil's advocate on this one. Too much technology, too fast, as Kai says, can rip the balance. There has been storylines in Forgotten Realms where a goddess who was a goddess of magic, the Weave, dies, and it was called a spell plague, where magic could not be used. You have a place in Pathfinder world, which the whole world makes no fucking sense to me, but that's besides the point, where you have a section of the world. What was that, Bruce?
We will destroy Paizo's Galarian later.
Okay. But you
I
have
can't wait for that day.
you have a small section that's called the mana waste where you couldn't use magic. You had to find ways of live your day-to-day life without magic. I don't like magic and technology to be the catch-all. I like there to be the struggle. Now, if I'm doing a legacy, I've never ran a legacy game. I've been in legacy games. I've helped make bullshit characters that have affected. I'm not saying the Saints are bullshit. That's one of my favorite characters, to be completely honest. But made characters that did his, if I'm sitting back and thinking about it, has probably did more damage to that world than good. Because I want to push the needle. I want it to go from muscle loaded to nuclear warfare, not in 100 years, not in 75 years, but a week later.
That comes with its own problems, because if technology advances too fast, you get people who don't understand the ramifications of said technology. And as a GM, what's the ramifications of, I don't know, a great shot cannon when you just learned how to make gunpowder? Well, the ramifications are you cover a wider area with a lot of rounds.
Okay.
What's the ramifications of going from flintlock to, I don't know, laser guided missiles? Well, there's a huge problem there.
Right. Let's go to grape shot. Let's bring up cannons really quick. The extraction of the original cannons had one huge flaw, and they never really saw it until much, much later. You use that cannon too many times, it becomes a bomb to itself. It blows
only in rapid fire succession.
Right.
Only in rapid fire situations.
Even earlier days, even with just with the huge cannonballs, the cannon will crack because of overuse. Because
Again, that's rapid fire scenario. You don't really see that happening over the course of, say, 10, 15 years of, maybe firing 10, 20 shots at most in a combat scenario. That's when you actually start getting into the 30, 40, and 50. At 50 rounds being fired in a cannon, you're starting to get a little dangerous there.
You have a kingdom that's getting invaded. It's being sieged. Instead of doing 10 to 15, as you just said, it's 40 to 50 a day because something is sieging your kingdom. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just of the argument.
And there's actually a real world scenario of this where I'm going to take this to Florida. I don't remember the exact year, but there's a fort down there called Fort St. Augustine, and they had a small situation. This is back during, I think it was Civil War. I'm not sure. I've got the dates wrong, I'm sure, but they had the Battle of the Cattle. Basically, a soldier on the wall had heard and seen movement in the trees. He alerted everyone on the wall, and they started firing rapidly. They cracked, I don't know how many cannons, but they did something worse. They actually cracked the walls of the fort because they wouldn't stop firing. That's how bad it got. So those are, real world ramifications of constant cannon fire. And those are things that, as a game master, you should probably add into your world. If your PCs want to fire 100 shots in, I don't know, 20 minutes out of a cannon, what's that going to do to the fortifications or foundations? Are they going to actually have a castle wall left when they're done? Are they going to have a ship left if they're firing from a ship? A ship has to fire out of both sides, not one side, to stay upright.
I'll stay quiet for now on that one.
Nope.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I open up the can of worms. If you're about ready to let me have it, Kai, let me have it. I'm
Gatling
devil's
MM
advocate right now.
Oh no. Well, first off, if you're building a warship, you really should. We're going to go into the wonderful world of. I'm not going to talk about this at this time, for there's only 25 more minutes of this, and I have an entire channel that I watch that goes into in depth how cannons and boats and ship construction all works.
Oh yes, it's very involved.
Yes, if you want to look it up, Draconifel is the best channel you're going to watch. That'll help you understand how floating things that you want to punch holes in and make them go underwater is the best thing in the entire world. Go learn it, watch it. They're amazing.
Dude, I love seeing insurance companies shit their bricks. So anytime I see explosions, I'm happy.
Yes.
Oh, Cynthia asks, Draconifil, is that the correct spelling in the chat?
Nope. I'm putting the channel into the private chat so you can post it up.
Thank you.
Now, here's the other side of technology. You're the good guys.
Yeah.
You are the He-Man. You have the Castle Grayskull. You are the good guy. I'm just using He-Man because that's what's on my mind right now. But because it was a mixture of magic and technology. That was what that show was about. But you got somebody who doesn't like the way you're doing things. He doesn't like the way that you're ruling his kingdom. But he likes the other guys just slightly less. He dislikes the other guys slightly less. So he takes all your grand achievements, all your grand designs, and takes them to the other side. And they have somebody over there just a tad bit smarter than the person that's sitting at the table designing the 3-cannon, 4-cannon Leonardo da Vinci rolling down the hill turtle. And is able to actually make it work correctly because Da Vinci didn't. And now you have your own designs, your own weapons, your own technology blowing the ever-living shit out of you because you think that this was the right idea.
Oh, yeah. Anything the players invent, the GM, should be taking notes on. And, if another enemy country or enemy faction of the players gets a hold of the designs because it was discarded or whatnot and goes, oh, hey, if I do this and improve it, I can go hunt those bastards down. They wiped out all of my guys. They wiped out my manor. Their enemies could quickly turn their own weapons of war against them. And that's something that the players should also be very, very much aware of. Like anything you pull at the table can be turned on you.
I can verify this. Holy shit! I can verify for this one.
I would never do that.
That same character that Jade was talking about earlier, I had the ability to make excellent, really cool bullets. Oh my God, if those bullets would have ended up in the bad guy's hands, the bullet of fireball, the bullet of lightning bolt, instead of holy water, it being some
unholy water.
Holy
Acid.
shit. Acid. I didn't do acid. Did I do acid? No, I don't think I'd messed with acid.
You didn't.
Right.
Players tend to really shy away from whenever they get to have their toys used against them. And then suddenly they all go, wait, that's what's been happening? And then you're like, yeah. And especially when one of them goes, I have an idea, and then they get distracted and then forget all about it. And then you wheel it out several months later or several years later, and that player who thought of it goes, wait, that's what it was going to do? And I'm like, yeah, that was what it was going to do. As one day I completely they had come up with this horrifying super weapon. I really don't want to go into all detail, but it was a weapon that really should never have existed. And then one day they were fighting somewhere, and the villain used it, and they were like, "Wait, what the hell was that?" And I'm like, "Well, it was a horrifying magical contraption of incredible death and destruction." But what was it? I'm like, "You designed it.
You tell me.
You told
Right.
you told me how this works. I just said somebody heard you and then built it." Like, but oh dear God! And they're like, "We need to stop this before it fires again."
Oh God! Oh yeah!
Suddenly they're like going, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!" And they're running around trying to stop this thing from during its inevitable recharge phase, aka somewhere else somebody was rapidly replacing crystals that had burnt out on the first firing, and they were like, okay, we're getting ready to fire it again, and the party like oh shit, and then it fired a second time, killed more people, and they're like okay, this needs to stop, and it became this horrible, oh fuck, we built this thing. Yeah, you did.
It's like,
God, that's not fair
Well,
for us.
could
Yeah,
you
and-
imagine? I mean, really quick, Jake. Could you imagine Saint Hawks? I think Darian Hawks,
Darian Fox.
Darian Fox's peacemakers ending up in somebody somebody an evil person's hands.
I mean, they would have. They did.
Or
They did.
Or another idea,
I don't know.
another complication is that whatever that cool weapon that you're talking about is. Fast forward 20 years, and well,
How's it advanced?
was that
How's it advanced?
or no, just move forward 40 years, and it hasn't really advanced. You know, some people are just like, that's just too deadly. We're not going to touch it anymore. But that gun just ends up in somebody else's hands, and here comes your nice, happy new party. Yay, we're having fun. And then suddenly somebody explodes. And you're like, wait, what? Why did he explode? And it's almost like Outlaw Star, and the guy, is recharging the caster.
Oh God, I love that anime. It's been forever.
Yeah. It's like, so if you want the idea where it's inspired a lot of players to go, I want a wand gun. Okay, click, flip, and then you fire off a spell at somebody's brain. And so therefore your party going, we're all having a nice day, and then Billy explodes. Why did Billy explode? Oh, he got hit by a lightning bolt to the dome.
Because he had beans last night. You shouldn't have ate the beans.
Right.
That's why he exploded.
And then you're like, but wait, my old character had that gun. What happened to my old character? I don't know. What happened to your old character? I don't know. Now you should wonder. Oh, shit. Yes, we built this city on war crimes. All the war crimes.
That's just thinking in the way of, weaponry. What about other technology? Like, what about modern day, lights on every street?
Oh, Tesla. You got.
Wouldn't countries or wouldn't players go? You know what? I want every city street in my town to be well lit. Okay, sure. Your town starts lighting the streets. The next town goes, hey, we really like that. And eventually, whatever the players decide to make technology-wise, or even you make technology-wise, it spreads across the world. Because, if something's a good idea, and people really like the idea, it spreads. It just keeps going and snowballing and getting better or faster. I think someone said in the comments, we went from horse and buggy to train, or to transcontinental train, to a fully connected global world in 120 years. So It's not unreasonable in a game world scenario where you've got magic and you've got technology, and when the two are put together, technology could just explode rapidly.
And the thing here is that you can bypass a lot of material. A lot of these things require material sciences to cross that barrier faster. But the thing is that you have magic that does this already. We have magical materials that resemble some of our materials, but they're not. And then, but you have spells that double because one of the things that one of my players came up with was thought about one day was well, okay, so a hardness 5 material to use. I want to use 3.5 as a because it's what I use forever. Hardness. So I have a hardness 5 material. So and if I overpressurize, it'll do a D6 damage. So the cylinder will take approximately every six cycles. It'll take a D6 damage. So it'll take 1 point of damage because it'll ignore the first 5. So the odds are I'll take a point of damage every 6 seconds. So if I double the hardness or I put a magical reagent on it that casts mend, that 1 point of healing upon a material, I can run it at this pressure. Okay, so I'll do this and I'll double that, and then you got players who are sitting here going, so you have this weird combination of magical, and they're like, well, how are you generating and then I go, well, I also have this ability to perfectly mold with magic a boiling vessel, because we didn't get to have a lot of these cool things that we had now because, well, manufacturing was crap. You couldn't do much because you couldn't go so hard because iron sucked. You didn't have good steel yet, or you had to rivet. You had to work with ceramics that weren't good enough yet. But again, now we have magic that bypasses a lot of these problems. Now you can have a boiling vessel that is legitimately one perfect cylinder, something that we would not have for quite a long time. Well, how are you going to heat it? And then you have one player who goes, well, simple. I cast, I trap an imp in a rock. Now he's burned, and now it burns forever. Or I cast heat metal. Now I generate steam. Well, I need better steam. Now you got people who are starting to figure out how to make better vessels. Well, how do I get more water into this thing? Well, this is where you get items like the decanter of endless water. Now you got steam. Now, well, where do I get a good lubricant that's going to work? Well, we have the best lubricant ever. So we're not looking at oil. So now we got enchanters who are sitting here making minor magic items that they're going to. So now you're going, wait, this is, and people are starting to players who are sitting here figuring this stuff out, but you've now made it way more complex. Like the chain of thought you've had to work through to get to this thing is much akin to okay, I'm going to make all these components. If you go one direction, you have a supply chain and all of these parts that radiate out in one direction, but that's one choice of direction. Or you go another direction, and now you need. So instead of needing master craftsmen who are working on all this, you now have to have master enchanters and all those other things. So you're two different directions that reach the same point, or go in a completely different direction or you just simply go, well, obviously I burn shit and therefore I transfer the heat into magical power and now my warjack moves. Fantastic. Go for it. I bottle lightning. What do you mean you bottle lightning? I have a machine that bottles lightning and that's how it powers all my contraptions. Okay, that's cool. Well, how do we have this? There's so many ways to do this, but the thing is, then you have players who go, well, now everything's magical, and then you have one asshole who walks by and goes, dispel magic, anti-magic zone. Now you're like, you're a monstrous airship. I am a rich fucker who flies over all the peasantry, and then some fucker just looks at there and goes, okay, I'm going to attach this anti-magic zone. I'm casting anti-magic zone on this rock, and then I'm going to put this tie it to a ballista bolt, and then I'm going to fire the anti-magic zone at the airship. Poof! And then suddenly, the rich guy, yeah, I'm so magical rich. Yeah, what the fuck? No! And,
it becomes Cleveland. No.
And then suddenly you hit and suddenly it's like, that was a 2,000-foot fall. Yup. His ship is wrecked. In it. Yup.
Yeah, so is he.
Yep.
Why?
No.
Well, he's going to hit the ground, and he's only going to take 10d6 damage. Why? That's maximum fall damage. Okay. But then everything's going to explode. Oh, oh, I see what you're talking about now. And then so you sit back and watch the explosion as the rich guy explodes. So you got to figure out, if you depend too much on one thing, somebody's going to come along and kick your shit in because, well, I have a flying castle powered by magic. Oh, shit.
We say that guy who's magically enhanced his flying Zeppelin, as
Zeppelin.
it may be, Zeppelin. We'll just call him Jeff Bike, whatever. Yeah, the guy who wants to have, was it Holland dismantle a bridge so he can get his super yacht to go through their river. Fucking asshat. But that's joking aside. Jade brought up electricity, and I'm just like him hauling around the thoughts. I've said multiple times, I'm not that creative. I can run with something as long as I have a general idea on how they work. Guns are easy; they've been around forever, so I can figure it out to a certain degree. But
Electricity's actually been around longer than guns.
no, that's fair. That's fair. But what my thought was, well, if this is fantasy, why can't we just get a herd of electric lizards and somehow source them to do electricity throughout the town? Wait, that's a horrible idea. But why? But no. But why? And this is the whole conversation.
Shocker lizards as pets powering the home.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing you can look at that's actually in a lot of different, D&D tropes is a water wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The hydro.
Yeah.
Hydro make the shocky. Yeah.
We need an engineer here to tell us the right term, damn it.
Hydroelectric.
Oh, we got one.
The entire goal of human engineering is all about how do we boil water better. So always ask yourself, does this allow me to boil water? If the answer is no, it's not technology. If the answer is yes, it's technology.
See, I always heard the invention of technology is pure laziness because I don't want to do it. But if I have to do it, can I make it easier?
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Because remember, the British made an advancement in fusion power, and the BBC reported it as it could boil this many pots of water. So,
is that
this many kettles of tea?
Yes,
that's what
it's
it was.
actually a thing.
Yes, it was an actual article. The BBC.
It is an actual
they
article.
made a breakthrough in fusion power. It generated this much power. It could boil this many kettles of tea. So yes, all technology revolves around, can it boil water?
And here's another thought. Technology always does leaps and bounds when war happened. Medical technology, war technology, and everything else. If you want to I want the party starts here and it ends here, and I want to do a 100-year gap. How do I explain technology? War. I mean, it's a simple and it's not a great answer, but it's an honest answer.
Always have the opening to Fallout on standby, so you can just play it and then go, he was lying. War does change a lot. So
when I ran that multi-legacy game, we went from the Dark Ages to Age of Technology in about 1,000 years, or the Steam Age in about 1,000 years' time. Not much of a stretch there, but no, we looked at it. The original GM of that game and me, we built the world together. We looked at it from a standpoint of, okay, what would cause technology to advance quickly? Well, the country that had all of that steam power, all of those advanced weaponry and whatnot, they were very militaristic. Even in the Dark Ages, they trained. The country actually had a geopolitical stance of, if you were an orphan by age 5, you were inducted into the military, because by age 5, if you're not adopted, it's very unlikely you would get adopted. So the entire country had this stance of all orphans age 5 go into the military training academy, and they get a choice at age 15 whether or not they wish to continue in military or seek the personal life outside of it. Now, a lot of them would probably choose to stay, just percentages wise. So the country is very militaristic to begin with. So they would constantly get into combat scenarios. So it drove technology faster, harder, and it was always a strive of how do we keep our country advancing? How do we keep our people safe from people who, or other countries who want to take advantage of us or, take our things. So you're right. War does advance technology rapidly, and that's because of a necessity. Or a perceived necessity to advance the technology to protect one's designs or protect one's craft. Again, it's very, that country was very, very militaristic. So yes, they advanced very rapidly, but they also had a leader who was undying. That was the character I had played in the previous game. He was old, very old, but he would constantly, with a hat of disguise, change his face and stay kind of in the background, keeping the country going, keeping things moving, and an ed for advancing forward movement. Anyway.
Man, my only counter to that was my players kind of did something similar to that, but they went through the entire population and ran them through a series of simple tests and experiments and then filtered out the bottom 80% of the people because they only wanted people who were actually qualified to be characters and then trained them. So in short, hey, look, if you look at the average human is going to be a 10. Well, you want a 12 or a 14. So you make sure you put your tests through the idea. And by bell curve, you're only going to get about 15 to 20% who are going to be a 14 in 3 stats. So you're going to sit there and you're going to train everybody through a series of rigorous tests, physical and mental. And then you're going to figure out who's good at what stats and filter your children out. And then send them to a rigorous school. You don't just give them all into stormtrooper training. No. That kid's smart. He's going off to engineering class. This person's wise. He's going to become a cleric. This person's good with archery. He's going out this guy's just good at being strong. He's going off to this job. This guy's got endurance. He's going to be a pack mule. Congrats. And when I sat
all
there,
hail the quartermaster.
And yes, Cargonia is the best. But when I sat there and listened to this player literally spell out his national education and sorting system, and figure out how, and what do you do with everybody with the 80% of the population who fails? And he goes, they just go do menial tasks. They're my labor pool. They just go out and do. They're my miners, crafters, and all this. But the people who are exceptional, they're my guards. They're my elite, and I'm filtering them out. Nobody goes to waste. And I'm like, you are a horrifying technocratic person, aren't you? And he goes, but it's going to work. Why? Because my draftee is going to be a far, far better capable person than your draftee because I've sorted my people out. I have the best in the right positions. I have done this. And I'm like, you are a horrible, horrible, horrible person. And I'm glad to be your GM. And looking at this person just spell out what is in essence just the most darkest of situations, and he's like, yay, you've turned 14. Time to go take your aptitude tests, and then you go through your testing, and then you're sent off to what your MOS is going to be. Congratulations, go! And everyone's like, wait, do I get a choice of what I want to be in life? No, you don't. I'm sorry, your stat block that we tested you out to being was going to be this. And you are going to be that job. You may choose from one of these chosen classes and specializations that fit your stat block. And everyone goes, wait a moment, but don't I get free will? No, you work for the state. The state controls everything. You serve me. And that meant that when we did the time jump into the future, he was still lingering around And his entire country was so regimented. Like, what's creativity? Nothing. There is no creativity. You are literally doing what he tells you to do. And everyone is programmed from age 14 to 18 in your 4-year level 0 education to become what class you're going to be. And then he's going to beat you up for 6 months until you learn how to be level 2. And he's going to beat you up for another year until you're level 3. And now he has an entire country of level 3 characters. And he's like, this is how it will be. And I will be better than everyone else. And I'm like, do you all want to be brainless drones working for the state? No. Then you're all starting another country. And they all looking at this horrible, horrible zone of mindless drones that all serve an old character. And they're like, we're going to overthrow that. We're going to restore, freedom to that country. And I'm like,
and that is the beginnings of a great campaign.
And when they got there, they literally asked, and the guy goes, but there's no unemployment. Everyone's healthy. The streets are clean. What? Why do you want to overthrow me? Everyone's happy. Nobody's got free will, but everyone's happy.
You betrayed the IMF.
And
Sorry.
No. And it's funny because at that point, I had one player goes, this is why we shouldn't have a libertarian GM as a so. Like, our GM is libertarian, so therefore he's telling us that this grand no freedom centralized power is bad, and I'm like, maybe because it is, and I'm trying to teach you through gameplay that it's a bad thing. You should fight it now while you have a chance. And they're like, don't bring politics into our game. I bring all the politics into the game.
Well, I mean that's another topic for legacy games is geopolitical stance. What happens in a nation that the party goes in and topples the government. What happens afterward? In 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, like what's the results? What if they just let a country continue to build a very oppressed people like that? What happens?
I think that'd be a great topic for us to follow up on next Thursday night, because right now we're cresting into the 2-hour mark, and I know Blaine is a individual that he has a very early wake up call, and I don't want to trespass into that and cause him a wreck tomorrow or anybody. And we've done really well. We've hit a gamut of conflicts and various things that you guys, as GMs for your own tables, I really think you should bring these things up, drip feed them into your games. Without the chat, by the way, really appreciate the chat being powerful as hell tonight. I've had a steady 9 to 11 people in the chat the entire time, and I really thank you guys. I really do. I mean, we would be nothing if not for you guys here chatting up and trying to derail us or giving us good food for thought. And I can't say enough positivity right now. Helsinki, next week we're going to get political. We're going to get super political on next week's stream, because we need to dive into that. That's got to be something we focus on.
Oh my God, yes.
Generational game. And I know that some people in the chat, maybe even some of my panelists, are going, God, no, please. Yes, we should. We should, because you should have politics in your country and your countries evolve over time. Or if it's nothing else, just the town politics or the region politics, whatever your characters are affecting, should have some slight budge. So yeah, we got to deep dive into that. And I think we can hit this and we can smack it with a good solid thwack. And I mean, not this tepid shit that a lot of other streams talk about. And I don't want to be tepid. If I'm tepid on things, let me know. And that goes for you guys in the panel too, because if I'm not hitting it hard enough, I'm really not doing you guys any favors.
I'd like to preface that, I'd like to leave our real world politics kind of out of it. I want only in-game politics.
That's where we're going with next week. And I understand we discussed a little bit of libertarianism there with Blaine, and it's hard for him to run a game where he's showing political things without have him give his quote unquote his spin on things. But I think we need to go into game politics hardcore. I'm not talking about what's going on in America or the rest of the world right now. I'm talking about what's going on at your table, and why, as a GM, you should make it affect the players. Make
Absolutely.
make it to where they can affect things because it's a fantasy world, and you're trying to give them at least some sort of happy ending, or at least something to where they can be like, that was a real fun experience. For those 2 years I sat at that table, I don't know if I could ever have that again. That was great. And that's the goal of this. That's the goal. I want to go deep diving on this shit. Maybe I'm not even the right guy to head this up, but damn it, I'm going to give it a good flack if I can.
Yep.
All right.
I definitely agree. So, once again, everybody, Bruce, once again pointed out without the audience, not only here, but those of us that are re-listening to either watching this again or on the podcast form. We here at TableBreakers, we definitely want to thank all of you for taking a little bit of time out of your life to listen to us rant about things and talk about topics that we think that are important within the game and the hobby. And we definitely do want to thank you all for that.
Yes, thank you.
Kai, are you going to be doing anything this week? I know you've got a lot of time locked up with your job. Are you going to be adding anything to the YouTubes or?
If I can, this is my first weekend where I'm not working six days in the last month, so I'm going to try. I'm going to very much try.
Okay.
Assuming that nobody dies this week, that would be great. I would like to have a week where nobody's dead, so that would be cool.
Okay. Baron, are you going to be available Saturday?
Me, I don't know.
Okay.
Why?
Saturday or Sunday. Connell was saying something a couple nights back where he's having some tech difficulties.
I told him to get a hold of me last weekend, and he didn't.
I know. I'm going to try to have him get a hold of you Sunday because I've got game on Saturday. But
Yeah, I was about to say I'm kind of tied up on Saturday, but so are you.
Yes. Jade, do you have any big plans for this weekend or with your YouTubes?
Well, I'm still deciding whether or not I want to, press into the YouTube area. I'm trying to put a lot of critical thinking into like what kind of content I want to cover, if this is something I want to pursue. I want to structure my channel to succeed, so to say. So it's gonna take a lot of thought on my part as to what I want to do with a channel if I pursue it.
Well, I gotta ask. I mean, you don't see my resounding 400 subscribers over what 12 years? That's not enough.
Well, I mean, it comes down to what kind of channel do I want to make? Do I want to make a Minecraft channel, a Final Fantasy channel because I play Final Fantasy 14 on the weekends with my wife? Do I want to make a gaming channel, or do I want to do all three and have content that changes every week? It's something I really need to critically think about as far as like structure goes and how I'm going to structure it. If I pursue it,
we'll talk this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and the other aspect is I need to get some better streaming equipment because I'm currently on a laptop. My video camera and my headset, I know it's not the greatest microphone, so.
I want to say on my own part, technology has been an issue. I will not going to put a date on when because I tried and that failed horribly. But I can say this. My first video that I pump out into the world of YouTube is going to be my introduction video will be not so much about me, but about me and what I think is important in gaming and just trying to explain who I am as the cigar DM. I like to say I like to run common sense gaming and not be a common sense player. So it's a little bit of a trick for me. So with that being said, you guys will see more of me. And with Baron's help, this will be successful. I am looking forward to seeing everybody on this chat commenting on mine, tell me how great it is or how much it sucks. I'll take all comers. And, it is what it is. I think any person who watches this program is my kind of person, and I look forward to hearing from you guys on my platform. Um, with that being said, I hope everybody has a good night. And Bruce, thanks for letting me join this motley crew.
Not a problem. I'm gonna be honest. We had 4 people with you, and 4 people was kind of where I thought the sweet spot was. And then you guys started talking about bringing in Jade, and I'm like, I don't know. We might. No. I was wrong, and he's brought a good dynamic to the group, and I really appreciate it. You guys handling each other in the panel while people are discussing things in the chat. It's fantastic. And I really appreciate being able to be with you guys again. I know we're not living near each other anymore. That could change in the future. You guys might become Texans. I don't know. But
I doubt you're bound for Illinois in time in the near future.
It keeps fucking snowing like it has been. I might be moving down to Texas sooner than later.
Yeah, I know. I know, right?
Well, my
Oh,
parents
God.
are saying it's like -1 degrees with a wind chill. That just
Yeah.
affirms my belief. I'm better here.
Yeah, we had well, because I'm not that far from where your parents were, maybe a half hour or so.
Yeah.
And basically there was like a half an inch of ice, and then it turned to snow. Before, and then it was
No
rain.
one up.
Yes,
I'm like,
it was
oh,
rain, and then it turned into freezing rain,
right.
and then snow. So it's
Um,
like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of winter. So Parrothead says, my only regret's not being able to make Kai lose his train of thought in the middle of his rants. Which I saw that valiant attempt, and it was good, sir.
The
It was
problem
good.
is that I can tell you why it will not work. Because he does not look at chat until he's almost done with the rant. That's when you can tell, because that's literally because he'll look and see something in chat and go, "Really?" And he'll get the look on his face, and we know that's when the rant's rolling down.
Yeah, because if you'll notice, when he's ranting, he's always staring off to the side. He's never staring at the screen.
So the trick is, Parrothead, if you want to disrail his rants, tag one of us and we'll do it for you.
No, because that doesn't work either.
Oh wow.
It's true. I do stare off at this wonder. Someday you'll get to see the whole collection of like patches and buttons and other weird things that I stare at because it just allows my mind to focus on the rant rather than.
Fair enough.
And
For everybody that is interested, I am running a game stream on Saturday, and the players are getting ready to enter one of the towers in their campaign world. We'll see what happens. They've been under the impression that they're, doing great things despite an invasion from a 2-front enemy, and let's see how that continues on. I'm really interested with this campaign. They're having a lot of fun. They're just about ready to hit 8th level, some of them, 7th level for others, and I'm hoping that the players in the chat really do enjoy the time we spend with each other. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and I'm the Hands DM. I got my hands out and you get to see them. But I will be here Saturday about 12:30 Central Standard Time. And for those of you interested, come on in. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I've got to give big thanks to the chat. Thank you so much to Kai, to Baron, to the Cigar DM, and to Jade. You 4 people have been very instrumental in tonight's campaign for us to help other GMs, and that's what the focus of this is for. It's really not for us, but it does open us up to new ideas, and it's supposed to be for the amateur GM that wants to hear a bunch of seasoned individuals talk about the tabletop hobby. Appreciate you all for showing up tonight. Please swing by again next Thursday night, 7:30, where we do a deep dive on generational campaigns and talk about the politics inside the game world and how things change. Thank you so much, and we will see you then.